Well, good morning, Wheatley Baptist Church. It's Pastor Dave here with an earlier than usual midweek update. Today's Tuesday, February the 2nd, and I had to take the opportunity to wish you happy Groundhog's Day. Today is Groundhog's Day, and I know not all people celebrate Groundhog Day, but it's become pretty popular in our North American Western setting, and today tradition tells us that if the groundhog who we know is afraid of his shadow comes out, sees his shadow, he goes back into hibernation, and we get 6 more weeks of winter, but a couple of things I thought were really interesting about Groundhog Day. One is, do you know there's 14 of these, rodent weathercasters around? Punxsutawney Phil is the famous one, and Wyerton Willie for us in Ontario. But the other thing that kind of came as a surprise to me when I searched this out some time ago now, but Groundhog Day is actually the cultural, kind of mixing of an ancient Christian festival with a pagan superstition. Here's what I mean by that. If you look at the calendar, February 2nd is 40 days after Christmas, okay? And from about the 4th century, when the date of Christmas was fixed in the Roman calendar, the Christian church started to celebrate on February 2nd the purification of the Virgin Mary and when she would take Jesus to the temple to be presented. Because remember, according to Jewish traditions, Leviticus 12, you can read this in verses 3 and 4, that the woman was to bring a sacrifice to the sanctuary, to the temple, on the 40th day after giving birth to a male child, that she had to do that. You can read this in Luke chapter 2, verses 22 to 25. I'll just share this with you. It says, when the time of their purification according to the law of Moses had been completed, Joseph and Mary took him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. As it is written in the law of the Lord, every firstborn male is to be consecrated to the Lord, and to offer a sacrifice in keeping with what is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of doves or 2 young pigeons. Now there was a man in Jerusalem called Simeon, who was righteous and devout. And remember, this is when the Lord reveals to Simeon that Jesus was going to be the long-expected Messiah. Verse 32 says, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and for the glory to your people, Israel. And that kind of created this church celebration. It was actually called Candlemas, and it really involved a priest in the temple blessing these beeswax candles that they would have made, and then people would take those and go through a procession in the church. That was the Christian tradition. But also, February 2nd is an important day in that it is also Cross-Quarter Day. And Cross-Quarter Day is the exact halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, right? And so in the European, pagan agrarian society, they're very focused on the earth, very focused on wildlife, looking for signs of change. That Cross-Quarter Day got mixed together with this old Christian tradition, and really we know that it was actually German immigrants that brought a badger to Pennsylvania, kind of like a weather barometer, and that's where Groundhog Day seemed to find some of its meaning. But there's another reason I went into such detail there to share this with you. Have you seen the movie Groundhog Day? Bill Murray, but really the character is Phil, and Phil gets kind of stuck in this loop where he's just over and over again living out the same day and living out the same day and living out the same day again. And I just thought about our current situation and how so many of us seem to get up in the morning every morning and we have to do the same thing because we're locked down and we're shut in, and how that can be pretty wearisome. And it had me thinking about our message this past Sunday as well. The same old, where Koheleth the preacher that is really the writer and author of the Book of Ecclesiastes, just tells us, that if our focus is only on the same old, if our focus is on the things of this earth, everything under the sun, as we talked about, then it's really difficult for us to not be stuck in a loop like the Groundhog Day movie would have us think about. And so I just want to encourage you this morning, far beyond Happy Groundhog's Day, but more specifically, to look into the variations that God is putting in our day, the variations that He is putting in our week. I want to read you just one last bit of this passage from Luke chapter 2. Down in verse 39, it says, "When Joseph and Mary had done everything required by the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong. He was filled with wisdom. The grace of God was on him." And I have to wonder if for that time, Joseph and Mary, as they had gone back to Galilee, as it says, to their own town of Nazareth, whether they kind of lived the same old for a while too. Hard to believe that when you have the very Son of God as someone that you're raising. But I'm sure there was monotony and trial for them too. But they had the most special relationship with Jesus as mother and father, and we get to experience this wonderful gift of Him growing, becoming strong, and becoming filled with wisdom. Surely the grace of God was on all of them, and not just Jesus alone. That's my prayer for you this week, that through the monotony, through the same old feelings that you might have this week, that you really focus on that what we're studying, whether you're reading the one-year Bible, whether you're thinking a little bit about our message from Ecclesiastes, or reading ahead in that. Those of you that are in our Bible study, we're deep into the book of Revelation now. There's so much opportunity for us to not have this earthly view of what's going on, but to rise above that, to take that celestial view like I talked about on Sunday, and kind of look out at the wonder and the amazement of what God has brought to us, even in this troubling time. Friends, I do have just a couple quick things I wanted to share with you by way of an update. One is this: we're early in 2021, and though we're seemingly locked down and shut down and all those types of things, I want you to know there's a lot of planning going on for this year. The council and others too have been working hard to do a couple specific things that I want to share with you. One, we are starting to work through the process of incorporation for the church. I know that's been a goal that the church has had for quite some time, and we're taking the opportunity in these first few months, while things are a bit slower because of the lockdown, to do the work that needs to be done there. And so part of that is revisiting our Constitution. And so one of the things I just asked for is for your prayer. Not just council, but some other members of the congregation are helping us with that, to look through different parts and make sure that they're still relevant for today's time. And at some point in the future, the near future, we'll be bringing an updated Constitution to the membership for some review, some feedback, and then obviously for a vote. So I'll talk with you more about that in the weeks to come. Additionally, our current Constitution says that we need to have a general meeting to pass our budget and any other decisions that may be in front of us. We need to do that in the first quarter of the year. So that's by the end of March. And so I would just ask you to be a little bit patient with us. But I also would say just keep your head up, because we will be coming to you with an opportunity to participate in some of those things with various means. Some of that will be electronic, some of that will be through video, some of that, provided we're allowed, will be in person for those of you that are comfortable doing that. So a lot of things going on as we are in the midst of the beginnings of 2021. And so we just ask for your prayer. If any of you are looking for something to do, there's still a couple of spots we would fill in some key areas. So by all means, you can reach out to me or reach out to Clarence, who's currently our moderator, and we could get you plugged into something that would fit your gifts for sure. That's all I have by way of update for this week. I'll look forward to sharing a little bit more with you about some thoughts about our online 1 Year Through the Bible initiative a little bit later this week. But until then, blessings. Hope you're off to a good start this week.